Okay. We'll get started in 2 minutes. Okay, I'll just keep an eye out for the waiting room, but good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. 'Tis the season, how to celebrate the holidays through gifting. My name is Demebi Igbuna, and I'm the co-founder and CMO of Chezi. And today I'm joined by Omama Qureshi, who is from your partners at Accent. So before I pass it over to Omama to start the presentation, I just wanted to give you a little introduction to Chezi. So we are a management platform for employee resource groups. We help you seamlessly track budget, engagement, membership, events, et cetera, all to give you time back to focus on the things that matter in terms of building the strategy around inclusive workplaces. We've been in the market for about 1.5 years, working with companies like the NBA, Airtable, and Chegg, and would love to work with everyone on the call in order to take your ERGs from intent to impact. So I'm going to drop my contact information in the chat. Feel free to contact me if you want to set up a time to see a demo or just talk through your ERGs in general. Would love to do so. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Omama and she can get started on the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm just gonna share my screen here. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about ERG gifting. So just kicking us off, I'm Omama, and currently I am the CMO and co-founder of Accent. But I just very recently made the jump to become a full-time member of the team. I was part-time for almost 2 years, startup life and all. But before I joined Accent, I worked at PMG Digital Agency. I was a social media manager on our Apple Education client team. So I really headed up our global paid social media strategy there. But while I was at PMG, I had the pleasure of running 2 ERGs. So the first was our BIPOC ERG. So we were dedicated towards being a safe space for all BIPOC employees at the company. So our aim was really to celebrate our differences and just talk rather than being an action-focused group. We had a larger council called CBID, stood for culture, belonging, inclusion, and diversity. And so they were more of that action-focused group. But BIPOC ERG was kind of like a safe space for any employees and allies that wanted to kind of celebrate diversity at the company. And then the second ERG was called International Faith and Cultures. And so we had 4 main religions, and our ERG heads were kind of champions of those religions. So one was Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, and Islam. And so I was the Muslim pillar representative for that ERG. And so our group's intent was to make it a more tolerant place of work, and just kind of being an advocate for my fellow Muslims at the company. So as an ERG leader, I noticed like 3 main pain points that I'm sure many of you unfortunately can kind of resonate with, especially during this like down period. First was low attendance. We hosted like monthly roundtables for our ERGs. It was kind of an open space to really talk about anything as a group. I would send out like agendas so that we would have some structure, but it was always the same 5 people joining, and we had about 70 to 80 people in our larger group Slack channel. And along that, we also had low engagement. So when those people did show up, it was kind of hard for them to like engage. Like we really had to like pull it out of them. And in that same vein, low participation. We had monthly socials that we would plan out, or we would ask some like leading questions in our Slack channel to get some participation going. but very few people would kind of like acknowledge those messages and like really participate as a whole. We would have some engagement here and there, but it just like wasn't the larger scale that you would expect a group of 80 people to kind of have. So me and my co-lead kind of had to ask ourselves some really tough questions, like, did people want this ERG to continue existing? Did they like us as ERG leaders? Like, were we making them comfortable? Were we making this a safe space? Were we giving them what they wanted? And so we really noticed that we just had to make a switch in our strategy. There's what we were doing clearly wasn't working. So we had to get creative. So gifting, like our CEO at PMG loved gifting. That was his main love language. And as soon as we were remote, like we would get box after box in the mail. And that's kind of like what sparked this idea too. Like he really tapped into something so cool. Like gifting makes people feel really loved. Like it's a truly like universal experience. I'm sure like every one of us has at least like one amazing memory as a kid of like tearing through the wrapping paper, opening up a box and finding like the most perfect gift, like exactly what you wanted. And it's a beautiful experience. Like it's truly human and it really sparks joy. Like the perfect gift can make you feel so loved. And I had this experience like working at PMG, like our CEO really invested in these types of employee engagement tactics. But what also was just so crazy though is that on the side, I was working for a representative gifting company. So everything was just kind of falling into place. Here I was as an ERG leader looking for like a creative solution on how to boost ERG engagement. And I was also the co-founder of a startup creating that perfect solution that I was looking for. So it all just kind of fell into place and opened that door to this whole world of inclusive gifting opportunities. And let me tell you, it was by far the most successful thing that really worked for our ERGs because it really supported what we were already doing as a company as a whole, but it really made our ERG members feel super special. It boosted so much engagement and participation in such a short amount of time. And we really spread out our gifts and made sure that we were doing both like large scale and small scale gifts too for different occasions and moments. But we really saw like a really powerful impact through gifting. But why? Why did our gifts resonate so well? I found these stats and it just really kind of like proved gifting like really does work. So the first one, 9 out of 10 Americans feel valued when they receive a gift. It really gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling. And that's exactly what we're looking to like recreate during that holiday season. Like it's that spirit, just it's the season of giving. And so this is like the perfect time to really like tap into that. And then the second, 75% of people got a gift that they hated. They just didn't like it and they had to get rid of it somehow. Either they regifted it or they donated it, but they just didn't like it, but they were too nice to say something to you. And then lastly, we found that a majority of people want value-based gifts. And this was really interesting. Just since 2020, like there has been such an emphasis on supporting local, supporting small businesses, supporting minority-owned small businesses. So employees are really saying, if you're going to spend money on a gift, spend money on a gift in a meaningful way. And so this kind of like really informs our strategy too. It's like, don't just give a random gift, right? Because then you might fall into that 75% category of giving a gift that they don't want. Give them an intentional value-based gift. And I think that's something that ERGs are really uniquely positioned for because our ERGs are created for a reason. They are value-based in the structure of them. So what do these gifts kind of look like? I have three main examples. So this first one is a partnership that we did for Duolingo's AAPI month. And this is our direct to mail type of gift. So we designed the packaging, and then we designed a host of gifts that goes within this box. It was sent to them directly in the mail. And this was really, really popular for teams that are completely remote or companies that are completely remote. And so it's just kind of a box of goodies that you would get in the mail. And the second type of gift is pairing a gift with a virtual event. And this is something that I personally kind of championed at PMG for a BIPOC ERG. This was our Hispanic Heritage Month gift. So we hosted an empanada making class during Hispanic Heritage Month. And it was virtual. We worked like with a chef. And so we thought it would be cool to give a gift to pair with that class. So this box kind of gave you a little bit of items that you would need during it. So there's an apron, there's olive oil, there's a table runner, there's an horchata scented candle, there's Ecuadorian chocolates. But all of these gifts were supported by Hispanic owned small businesses. So some of these items are from Mexican-owned small business. Some of them are from Peru. Some of them are from Spain. So it's a really nice little collection of gifts and items that were so cohesive with the virtual event itself. And so this was really, really fun. I had a lot of fun making this gift and kind of pairing it with that event as well. And this was open to our entire company, even though it was hosted by our ERG. We had amazing turnout with this. People really, truly loved it. And then our last one, this was one of my favorite examples, but you can also pair a gift with an in-person event. So this one specifically was also with our BIPOC ERG at PMG, and it was for AAPI month. And so what we did is we really wanted to celebrate and showcase just how diverse Asia was. It is the largest continent with so many different identities and backgrounds and cultures that I think, mainstream kind of like glosses over and kind of groups people, either like East Asian identities were really popular. But we really wanted to showcase like Asia as a whole. And so what we did is we sent out a gifting survey to our members that wanted to participate in this gift exchange. And so you could choose 2 out of 4 categories. So the categories was tea, candles, beauty, and jewelry. So you got to pick 2 of those categories and see and get a gift based on that. So you could choose any combination that really spoke to you. So if you really liked tea and candles, you could choose that, or you could do beauty and jewelry or candles and jewelry. So whatever combination of gift you really, really wanted, you could choose that. And then our team at Accent curated a gift for you based on the categories that you chose. But what was really, really fun was that we wanted to make sure that it was a representative Asian gift. So say you chose tea and candle, we made sure that it was a mixture of identities. So we had boba candles, but some people would get rose scented candles, or we would have jasmine tea, or we would have cardamom chai. So it was kind of like a good mix and no one knew what they were getting. So once those gifts were all shipped, the ERG members met as a person at the office, unboxed their gifts together. So it was a really fun bonding experience to be oh, what did you get in your gift? Or oh, I got this. And then it was also an opportunity for everyone to talk about the cultural significance. So what does chai really mean for the South Asian community? Or what does boba really mean for the East Asian community? And so it was also an opportunity to learn together in person. And so I thought that was really, really fun. And people loved the idea of getting a mystery gift in the mail and kind of waiting to open it together. It really bonded everyone. And it was one of our most successful events of the year. So this one was a really fun one. But I think that kind of leads us also into when is the best time to give a gift. So the key is really to identify moments that resonate with your specific ERG. So I would suggest to create like a shared Excel spreadsheet or a survey or something and run through it with your ERG together. So create a calendar of events that really means something to your members, if you don't already have one. So for the BIPOC ERG, we had a lot of employees from a lot of different backgrounds. And so each member kind of had something that they really wanted to focus on. So some people really wanted to celebrate Heritage Month. So Hispanic Heritage Month, AAPI Month, Black History Month. And so those were kind of important moments to them as members. And then some people wanted to celebrate cultural moments like Diwali. And others really wanted to focus on diverse holidays like Lunar New Year's and Eid. And so it was a really good exercise to do as a group to kind of put that all in one document, walk through what's the best moments that everyone wants to kind of celebrate together. And then you as ERG leaders can go in and identify this would be a good gifting opportunity, whereas like we could pair this with like an in-person event or like a virtual event and kind of curate a strategy together. But getting that input from our ERG members was so impactful and really increased participation too, because when they did see that calendar invite for like AAPI month, and that's something that they personally celebrate, like they were a lot more attuned and engaged on what was going to happen there. Also, like you don't even have to mention that someone's going to get a gift, especially if you want to like keep it a surprise. So just working through those potential ideas and getting input to identify these like kind of 3 buckets of things: heritage months, cultural moments, and diverse holidays. And speaking of getting input from the people that you're celebrating, my absolute favorite part of inclusive gifting is putting support back into the community. So at Accent, we have a community of about 200 or so preferred vendors. And these are small minority owned businesses that we've worked with in the past. We've included them in our gift sets. And it's just so amazing to see all of like the new types of businesses that kind of came out of the pandemic. Like I love finding new niche kind of fun cultural products. Like I had never smelled an horchata candle in my life before this Hispanic Heritage Month box went out. And it was such a potent candle and really did smell like horchata. And it was so fun. And I think a lot of people like loved that. And it was a unique scent. So I love finding like new small businesses to like really support. And we really make sure that whatever holiday we're celebrating that community. We're giving support back to them. So if it is a Hispanic Heritage Month box, all of the gifts are from Hispanic owned small businesses. If it's a Lunar New Year's box, all of those products are from Asian owned small businesses that support and celebrate Lunar New Year's. So that is like kind of the root and crux of inclusive gift giving, and what makes it so powerful as an opportunity for ERG strategies too, is just giving back to the community itself. And a little fun thing about Accent too is that we really give you the power to measure the direct impact of your gifts. So with our platform, you can see exactly how much support went into these small businesses, seeing the satisfaction rates of your gifts after you send them. And at the end of the day, we're giving you the knowledge to kind of prove that gifting works. Like all of these gifting metrics and analytics are available through our platform. And we've seen a lot of ERGs kind of use that information to make the case at their companies that inclusive gifting really works and that they should have increased budgets to do so. So this is a really powerful tool as well. That is really like what I love about gifting. It's one of the top ways I personally love to show my love to those I care about. And it's really fueled my journey at Accent and really paired well with my ERG experiences too. So I hope that all kind of inspires you to consider gifting as a strategy for the holiday season or also heading into the new year and kind of identifying those moments for your specific ERG as well. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for that. I really liked your point around like sitting down with your members and identifying holidays and specific moments that they want to celebrate. Because we always talk about how having a program calendar can help bolster consistent ERG engagement. So I think that was spot on. There is one question in the chat from Scott. So do you have any opportunities for an ERG to choose a nonprofit to give gifts to?
Yeah, so we really work with ERGs to gift in any way. We personally haven't done that as an opportunity just yet because it just hasn't fallen into our lap. But yes, whatever type of gift that you want to give, that's definitely something that we can look into as well and kind of curate for that nonprofit.
Awesome. And then a question from Kaylee. How long do you recommend ERGs start planning for gifts ahead of an event/date?
Yes, so that definitely is very tailored to your company. I know a lot of companies, you have to like request budgets. And so I would really look into seeing like how far in advance you want to request. So for our process, it takes about a couple of weeks up to a month because we do have to account for gathering all of the products that need to be packaged into the different gift sets and make sure that we get all the materials printed. So about a month or so leadway from us. But that also just kind of depends on your timeline as well. Like we can expedite that. So I think it's good to plan ahead. And so you give yourself enough time to really curate the idea for the gift set, to kind of work through if you want to add it into an in-person event, a social, a virtual event, kind of pair it together. So earlier the better. I would recommend at least giving yourselves 2 months. I think I started planning Lunar New Year's like right after I came back from holiday break. And so that gave me like a month and a half or so. So yeah, I would give yourself a little bit of time just to account for like shipping delays as well too.
Awesome. Any other questions? And I know we have a small group, so feel free to just come off mute if so.
Yeah, for sure. And also Afra is on the call as well. She is our COO. So if you guys have any questions as well, she can also tag team.
Cool. Maybe a question for the bigger group. How do ERGs pay for these gifts, especially if it's like a larger ERG with a lot of members?
It's a great point. So I'm not sure what budgets look like, but we only got about $5,000 a year. And so for our larger gifting campaigns, we really worked with our in-house marketing team. So they had a larger budget. They basically had unlimited funds because they were in charge of larger gifting experiences at the company. So as I mentioned, like our company was really focused on gifting. So they were in charge of like swag and just sending out company merch. So we worked with them. We partnered and was like, hey, like, I think it would be really nice for you all to also like lean into inclusive gifting. So we made the case there and we're able to get the funds that we needed to give gifts on a larger scale. So everyone at the company got gifts that way. But for some of our events where marketing was just like, no, sorry, like we're going to pass on this opportunity, we had to scale down our gifting. So the AAPI month where I was mentioning like the different categories of products, like that was just for the ERG members. We had about 20 gifts or so. So we used our personal budget for that, but we just had to make sure like which moments do our members really care about. We had to really plan in advance. Okay, if we're using like half of our budget here, we only have half of our budget remaining for all of the other events we want to support. Like how can we creatively go about it, you know, like how can we support our ERG through non-monetary like options too. So that was kind of like a planning that we had to like sit down and be like, okay, like if this is going to be a big budget suck, what can we do that's more free options?
Yeah, and Kaylee, just the structure that I've seen from other people that we work with is that the ERG specific budgets are typically for like more of those learning and development / like career development opportunities. So they're bringing on speakers, they're trying to host panel events, they're trying to do an ERG summit, that type of things. It's what comes from the ERG budget. And then when it comes to swag or gifting, typically you can work with employee experience or even your executive sponsors to get that supplementary budget, just because it is typically for like a heritage month or a big like honorary like celebration. So they are typically willing to give you some of their budget to fund those activities. But of course, it does vary company by company. So I think it is worth having a conversation with a couple of different folks and seeing who would be willing to step in there.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, it's up right here. A lot of folks that, we've also worked with have basically just gone to the people that own those swag budgets and those marketing budgets and really just said, hey, like instead of this cheap crap that you send employees, why not just send something better? And like basically showcasing different options instead of, your mug or your water bottle or t-shirt or whatever. And so they've had success there too.
Great question though. Any other questions from our audience? Okay, so this event is going to be on the shorter side, but Omama, I really thank you for your participation in today's event and this presentation. This was super helpful. I think it's a good reminder for our audience to always be mindful of the community that their ERG is serving. So you want your gifting, you want your swag, you want everything that you're kind of putting out there to be representative of the community that you're serving. And I think Accent really helps you do that. So I will, after this call, send out this recording as well as the links to, Accent's website, as well as Omama's email. So if you all want to get in touch, especially as the holiday season approaches, feel free to reach out to these wonderful humans. And then if you want to learn more about Chessie and how we can help take your ERGs from intent to impact, please feel free to reach back out to me as well. So thank you all for joining and have a great rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, Nolan and Ivy.